Do you want this helmet, or how about this brand new one-up chain guide? All three of these items are brand new. All you got to do is subscribe and you will be entered for a chance to win one of these three items. So once again, thanks for your time. This is a way for me to show appreciation, and yeah, on to the video. What's up, guys? Today we are talking about why, in my opinion, G. Atherton is the Freddy Krueger of this sport. But before I get into that, I want to make it very clear that I am in no way trying to glorify the crashes and the injuries that he's endured. I love G. Atherton and the family, but there is no doubt that G is a scary dude, and we're going to talk about why. Getting into it, there was really 5 moments and crashes that I feel exemplifies the absurdity that is G. Atherton, and we're going to start way back in 2008. He was still in kind of the top of his form, racing World Cups, battling for overall titles, but he took it upon himself and his brother to go up in France. There was a snowboard competition happening. As you can see in the video, a massive double, and he wanted to try to hit it on a bike. Obviously, that is going to present challenges. A, it's not designed for it. Just riding a bike in snow presents difficulty. And 2, the jump is not really designed for it. I don't have enough expertise in jumps designed for skis and snowboards to say if it is different and if it is, by how much. But certainly, I would imagine if you're looking at this huge, 80-foot double, that would be at the forefront of your mind is, boy, is this going to be kind of a different equation to what I was expecting? And you can see G. Atherton take probably 4 or 5 run-ins trying to gauge speed, which is likely going to be the most difficult thing to gauge. He's a mountain biker. He's used to trees and rocks and roots and dirt, and now he's on this bare slope. And so you can see him taking a couple test runs. A lot of this, as you can imagine, is kind of intuition. You don't want to come up short. You don't want to go too long. That's why at a lot of the hardline events, you will see the most sort of comfortable and confident jumpers kind of tow people in. And after a few run-ins, looks like he's confident what he needs to do, drops in, and as soon as his wheels leave the lip, you know he hit it with way too much speed and overshoots the already huge jump by probably double. I mean, literally looks like he is falling from a 2-story building, has one of the biggest OTBs I've ever seen, thankfully manages to keep from rotating too far forward. The front wheel takes the brunt of the impact, absolutely disintegrates, but this was it. The legacy of G was kind of born there, and he only continued to add to it. So the next notable crash, 2012 Rampage in the really cool black and white 1 jersey kit, the Red Bull helmet on the carbon fiber GT Fury. I'm pretty sure it's one of the first carbon fiber downhill bikes. I'm going to do a video on that, but in the finals run, he's got his line and his sort of run dialed. He goes for what is really the crux of his run, this massive canyon to canyon transfer. But as you can tell in the footage, there is this knuckle, and you can see when he takes off, he bunny hops pretty aggressively, trying to make it over this knuckle. Doesn't make it over, back wheel cases, and again, just gets pile driven into the ground. It is Utah. It's just got a little bit of that give. So I think, again, he sort of escaped relatively unscathed. This leads us to probably the most infamous viral moment of G. Atherton's career and the crash on the ridgeline. I opted to not include this in the video. It's just too gruesome. I'm sure many of you have seen it. I wish I didn't see it. The image of him falling 10 to 15 feet onto the jagged granite rocks, breaking his hip, I believe knocking him out, and then proceeding to just unconsciously ragdoll down the mountain. It's one of the worst crashes I've ever seen, if not the worst. The list of injuries is extensive. He was in the hospital for weeks. This video or this picture sums it up better than I can. The, normal people would have assumed surely this is it. You're calling it quits. You're taking it down a bunch of notches and just maybe, having fun doing races, showing up for cool kind of free ride events, but keeping it low key. Well, no. He shows up at Red Bull Rampage 2023 and has a monumental drop. Long story short, the video shows what happened. He goes off of it, and ultimately, it looked like the landing was perhaps not quite steep enough, combined with the fact that he landed pretty heavily on his rear wheel, which ends up pretty much creating a whiplash effect, just throwing him into the ground. So imagine hitting a 70-foot drop, landing on the transition, but pretty much just landing on it in a way that just accelerates your energy and inertia and just gets thrown into the ground. As you can imagine, another trip to the hospital. This one a little bit less severe than the ridgeline, but again, a exhaustive list of injuries. And this is where you go, surely this is it. You're drawing the line. We're taking it down a bunch of notches. I don't know. Settle down, play golf, crochet, whatever it is. But no, Atherton's having none of it. He comes back in probably the most emblematic moment of the absurdity of G and frankly the scariness is Hardline Wales last year and the infamous canyon jump. Him and his brother Dan Atherton took it upon themselves to elevate the already absurdly dangerous event and to take it into Evel Knievel territory. If you do not clear the canyon double, what awaits you is a 70-plus foot fall onto rock. But what is possibly the most symbolic moment of the weekend is the 2 or 3 little crash pads that I'm sure G or Dan put down there just to make it look like there's been some legitimate attempt at safety. So the riders go, oh, okay, well, if I happen to fall the 100 feet, that's what I got to sort of target. Let's just throw a couple crash pads down there. Yeah, the probability of the rider surviving it, even if they landed on it, is low. The probability of the rider even hitting it is even lower. It's literally comical. And then it gets this is where we get into the real myth of G. Atherton. This was never proven, but through multiple rider accounts, apparently G. Atherton was not too keen on the idea that Red Bull had, and I believe the riders had, to put a crash protection net spanning the canyon, obviously ensuring that if somebody does in fact not make the double, they land on the canopy. G. Atherton, and again, this has never been sort of verified, but I have heard through Matt Jones, Adam Brayton, among others, that said this was the case. G. Atherton did not like the net idea. I guess that was just going to diminish a lot of the excitement for him, and he didn't like it. Ultimately, Red Bull decides to scrap the canyon jump. They do not include it in the Rampage race, but I feel like the myth and obviously the terror that is G. Atherton lives on. And if there was one moment that I point to as an example of why I coined him the Freddy Krueger, it is that. You have got to be one abnormal, unusual, just off-kilter hombre, but that is G. Atherton. The dude's not normal. He's still pushing it. He's just raced Tasmania, hardline. He looked fantastic. Do I wish he would take it down a couple of notches? Yeah, especially the ridgeline events. Those are just absurd. I mean, you've seen the videos, some of the scariest POV footage I've ever seen. But anyways, that is a long rant why G. Atherton is the scariest, gnarliest dude. He's like the epitome of that older brother that you kind of fear and you're intimidated by. Well, that's G. He's like the zenith of that intense, hardcore, intimidating older brother. Let me know what you guys think. The Atherton family is on the Mount Rushmore of mountain biking. Rachel, Dan, and G. It's awesome. It's a great family story, and G's a gnarly dude. Hopefully backs it down, but let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment and hope you enjoy the video.